This one has been a long time coming. The only game I get asked to review more often than Uncharted 3, Drake's Deception, is Halo Reach. I let my Xbox Live Gold account expire, so today you Halo haters will have to wait a while longer, cause I can play on PlayStation Network for free. As the game begins, we find Nate and Sully meeting up with some less than savory individuals wanting to buy the ring that Nathan's been wearing around his neck since the first game, which belonged to his supposed ancestor, Sir Francis Drake. Supposed, you might say? Just keep watching. The deal goes bad, leading to a bar fight that ends out in an alleyway where we meet the leader of this group of thugs, the evil British cougar bitch. One of the thugs, who looks just like Jason Statham, is actually a friend of Sully's and Drake's and pretends to shoot them. The evil British cougar bitch drives off with the ring, and the adventure is on. We soon learn after that the ring is a key that activates a Who's a What's-This that activates another something or other that eventually leads to a hidden city deep in the Arabian desert that's home to a great treasure and a dark power that the evil British cougar bitch hopes to use to take over the world. We also learn that the ring is tied into how Sully met Nathan. Sometime in the past, Nate was a scrappy preteen orphan and pickpocket who was fascinated with the story of Sir Francis Drake. One day he broke into a museum and stole the ring, which Sully and his then penis holster, the evil British cougar bitch, were also trying to steal. Sully takes a liking to the kid and decides he'd rather take Nathan under his wing than continue to fuck dusty wrinkled British sniz, and the rest is history. The controls to Uncharted 3 in their current form work as well as Uncharted 2, perhaps even better considering the improved melee system. However, it's not always so. When the game first came out, it had a new aiming system that, let's face it, was completely fucking broken. It had a huge dead zone where, when the reticle got within an inch of the target, it would slow to a crawl and make it damn near impossible to line up an accurate shot, much less headshots. Trying to push harder on the analog stick would cause the reticle to overcompensate and go from slow to too fast, zooming past the intended target. Thousands of gamers complained, and Naughty Dog responded by stating the new system was better and more accurate, and its fan base was clearly just unwilling to adapt to the clearly superior and yet infinitely inferior aiming system. The fans continued to complain, boycotts were threatened, and finally, while still not admitting anything was wrong, Naughty Dog invited two gamers to their studio to show the developers what was wrong with the new aiming system. Let me state that again for clarity. This professional Sony studio had to bring in two gamers to show their professional, experienced developers who had twice before created perfectly functional aiming systems for Uncharted 1 and 2 what was wrong with the aiming in Uncharted 3. What the fuck? This resulted in Naughty Dog still not admitting that anything was wrong with the original aiming system in Uncharted 3, but placating the fans by adding an quote-unquote alternate aiming patch buried in the menu system. So to sum up, the controls for Uncharted 3 are just as good as Uncharted 2 so long as you download the patch and turn on alternate aiming as soon as the game boots up. Now, if your PS3 isn't connected to the internet, then I suppose you're just fucked out of luck unless the eventual Game of the Year edition comes with the patch pre-installed. Welcome to the current gen, folks. The graphics are without a doubt the best of this console generation. No other game on any other current console can touch it. The sound effects in particular are just astounding. The levels are bigger, the set pieces are bigger and more elaborate, the movement animation and motion capture is even better than before. The only two negatives I can give for the graphics are in some of the facial constructions, namely Chloe and Elena don't always look like they did in the previous games. In fact, Elena seems to switch between looking like her old self and looking like a Chinese stripper in a blonde wig seemingly at random, and on more than one occasion this happens in scenes that were shown in the early launch trailers, but with Elena looking like her normal self, which makes it all the more puzzling, and with the 3D. The 3D looks like a movie that was converted to 3D rather than filmed in it. It's dark, muddy, and while it has depth, there are no scenes where anything comes out at you and really accentuates the 3D effect. It works, But unlike Killzone 3 or even downloadable titles like Super Stardust HD, it doesn't add anything to the experience. If you have a 3D TV, don't even bother. Once again, Greg Edmondson has outdone himself with the musical score. Greg has been the composer for all 3 titles, and is perhaps most famous for being the composer on the short-lived TV show Firefly. This is pretty interesting, considering the star of that show, Nathan Fillion, is the fan frontrunner for playing Nathan Drake in the eventual movie based on the games. He looks, acts, and talks just like Drake. Naughty Dog has never admitted or listed him or the show as an inspiration for their character, but the fact that they hired Firefly's composer to do the music for the games seems too big of a coincidence to ignore. It's the most recognizable and iconic game score of this generation, just as memorable as many of the big 80s franchises back when movie composers still cared about theme. For example, if someone plays the music to Indiana Jones or the Superman films, you know immediately what that is, just as you recognize Nathan's theme when you hear that. Now go listen to James Horner's phoned-in score for the recent Amazing Spider-Man film, and you'll hear the difference in theming and quality. It's pretty obvious. The multiplayer is functional, but not overly noteworthy over what was offered in the previous game. There are a couple of new play modes, and they've added a perk system of sorts that was obviously inspired by the Modern Warfare series, but nothing sets it apart from any number of multiplayer modes out there. In short, it still just feels like an afterthought tacked onto the single-player game so that fragheads would buy it. Truth be told, I had more fun with the co-op campaigns than anything else the multiplayer has to offer. It's good, but it's not great. Finally, there's the story. In interviews posted last year, the designers at Naughty Dog stated that they came up with the level scenarios first, then wrote the story around them to tie it all together. This was not the way to go. While the series has always drawn inspiration from the Indiana Jones film series, this time they went completely overboard with it, basing a good 70 to 80% of the overall plot and story structure on Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade. I'm sorry, Sony fanboys. You know Sony is my preference. You know PS3 is my favorite of this gen. But I have to point this out. It's only fair, seeing as how I took Halo to task for stealing from Jim Cameron's Aliens. Sadly, this plot theft is even more blatant in Uncharted 3. So if you're a Sony fanboy, prepare to be supremely butthurt. After all, where else do we see a flashback to the hero's childhood where he gets chased over an artifact that ties into the main plot and establishes his relationship with his father figure? That's right. Come to think of it, where else have we seen the third in an action-adventure series that focuses on the relationship and history between the hero and his father figure? That's right. Where else have we seen the hero and his father figure escape from a burning castle? That's right. Where else have we seen the secret sect of Arabs guarding a hidden treasure and/or city for thousands of years? A concept also stolen by Chris Summers' 1999 Mummy remake. That's right. Where else have we seen a country-spanning treasure hunt that includes clues left in the tombs of Templar knights? That's right. Where else have we seen the hunt leading to a hidden city in the desert? That's right. Where else have we seen an evil European bitch that the father figure had had a hinted sexual relationship with, who ends up falling and/or sinking to her death while the hero tries to save her? That's right. Where else have we seen a fight scene that takes place on a sinking ship out in the middle of the ocean, with the hero barely managing to escape before it sinks? That's right. Where else have we seen a horse and/or vehicle chase scene in the desert that ends in a huge vehicle going off a cliff with one of the heroes barely escaping in the nick of time? That's right. Where have we seen a treasure hunt that involves clues found in an old journal? That's right. With Indy, it's his father's Grail diary, and with Drake, it's T.E. Lawrence's journal. Yeah. Where else have we seen the father figure get shot as soon as he enters the hidden city, only to still be alive by the time the credits roll? That's right. Where else have we seen magic water that the bad guys are trying to find so they can use it to conquer the world? That's right. Where else have we seen treks through underground catacombs beneath a large European city? That's right. London in Uncharted 3, Venice in Indy 3, though it makes no sense since Venice is the sunken city, so any catacombs would be flooded, but hey, that's George Lucas for you. Where else have we seen the hero stowing away on an enemy airship only to be discovered and barely escaping alive? That's right. In Uncharted 3, it's a military air transport. In The Last Crusade, it's a blimp. And finally, where else have we found out in the third entry to an action-adventure series that the whole time the hero has been living under an assumed name? That's right. With Uncharted 3, Nathan named himself after Francis Drake. In The Last Crusade, Indiana Jones named himself after the fucking dog. Uncharted 3 suffers from third entry syndrome. In trying to keep to the every 2 years release schedule and simultaneously surpassing the perfection of Uncharted 2, Naughty Dog managed the former but failed in the latter, releasing a game that plays just as good as Uncharted 2, after the patch that is, sounds better, looks better, aside from the 3D and random Asian face glitches, but shits the bed in one of the most important aspects, the storyline. While it is certainly the best third-person action game of 2011, it fails overall to live up to its predecessor, as it is impossible to improve upon perfection. So Uncharted 3, Drake's Deception, is going to have to live with a 6 out of 7.
All men dream.
You know what my dream is? That when Uncharted 4 comes out, Nate won't survive a nuclear blast by hiding in a lead-lined oven while chasing dead aliens in Peru with his bastard son named Hound. That's what my fucking dream is.